Ooh, Giants, gross.
Yeah, not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Monday Night Football's been bad this year.
Do you watch the regular broadcast, or do you watch Peyton?
Regular.
I can't watch Eli Manning talk.
Like I gotta watch.
I get dumber when I listen to Eli Manning.
I gotta watch.
Peyton to do it by himself.
Yeah, it's like Eli, Michael Phelps, Jared Goff.
Has anybody ever seen Eli and Michael Phelps in the same room at the same time? Well, if everybody came from a separate planet, like Eli Manning and Michael Phelps I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell was the guest.
They got a little bit in them.
I didn't see the Will Ferrell part. Was it funny?
That was the part when I turned it off. Actually, I was watching them. Whenever they bring a guest on, I find myself moving away to the Troy Aikman,
and
Joe Buck broadcast.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, it's just getting too silly. Like, I just need to watch the game.
Did he do the cowbell thing? Eli? I'm pretty sure I need more cowbells. And when Will came on, it was just absolutely god awful.
Oh, I don't know.
You leave him alone.
Part of it is that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are the best in the business. Really,
they're really good.
It's hard to go.
I look. I would rank them in my top 3, but those poor guys, man, with what they've had to deal with on Monday Night Football, it's just been bad.
Yeah,
like it's just been clunkers. I knew after the first quarter. I mean, I was like, look, the most exhilarating thing about this is whether Geno Smith's going to try and fight the whole Giants defense. After they tackle him, and he would lose.
He was about to.
And he would lose. The Seahawks beat the Giants as Daniel Jones throws multiple interceptions. The Major League Baseball playoffs begin today, and we're going to preview this weekend's Oklahoma-Texas matchup and give you some of the best early bets in college football Week 6. I'm Jake Crain, and welcome to Crain & Company. Now, typically, we see great coaching matchups all the time in college football, almost every weekend. But rarely do we get to see the masterclass that will be on display in 2 different places at once, like this Saturday, especially when it's on both sides of the ball that are going against each other, offense versus defense versus offense. First, we get to see the TED Talk and the Red River Shootout between Steve Sarkisian and Brent Venables, obviously with nods to Kyle Flood, the OC at Texas, and Ted Roof, the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. But from a preparation and adjustment standpoint, the offensive mind of Sark and the defensive mind of Brent Venables is about as good as it gets. Now, this chess match is going to be absolutely delicious for football lovers, as Sark's going to show us all his different alignments, personnel groupings that he's going to mix with deadly route combinations that go against the grain and a bag of runs so deep that Pepto-Bismol would be jealous. Now, facing Venables, exotic pressures, changing fronts, and more disguises than a spy convention, and Ted Roof's got a ton of experience as well. I mean, he's been around the block. There's also going to be some damn good players in this game. All right, this isn't going to be the lopsided affair like it was last year when it was 49-0 Texas. Now, if you love the devil in the details of live football, I challenge you to not just watch the ball during this game. See the ever-moving motions and front changes and all the things that go along with it. It makes the game more fun to watch. Then later, we get to see 2 old heads going at it in College Station as Professor X, Bobby Petrino, goes up against Magneto, a.k.a. Kevin Steele, in what is going to be an absolute mind-bender of a matchup when the Aggies offense takes the field against the Bama defense. Now, Petrino knows how to out-formation people. He's got an experienced quarterback like Max Johnson, so he's not going to be afraid to reach deep in his vastly experienced bag to help manipulate safeties, and is probably going to pitch backwards for most of the game from a play-calling standpoint. Now, Kevin Steele, he's been in the game longer than the grass on the field. And he's going to have more answers than a 911 operator as he figures out what Petrino's trying to do to him. Now remember, the best play callers call plays to set up plays down the road, and Petrino is notorious for that. So I wonder if Kevin Steele is going to try and force some action early from a pressure standpoint to try and throw him off schedule. Now, all the game planning stuff is great, but that is only half of the recipe. Football, like life, is a game of adjustments, and the best coaches are the ones who can adapt and evolve after halftime. That is where the game is really played. Now, are these play callers going to be patient enough to save some things for the second half, or will they show the whole menu early? Either way, the brain games in these 2 matchups are going to be worth the price of admission alone. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, who's worth the price of admission alone, and my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver, who's going to make sure you pay the price of admission.
Oh, you will.
First off, before we get into this, I misspoke yesterday, and I didn't realize it until last night. I said Donovan Green at tight end for Texas A&M instead of Jake Johnson and Mac Wright.
Disgusting.
Mac's Wright. And I was like, why would I say that? I was like, why would I say that? And so then I pull up YouTube from where I was looking yesterday, and I had the highlights of the Alabama-Texas A&M 2022 game, and Donovan Green scored a touchdown in that game. So I think I was going back and looking at formationally, even though Petrino's at A&M now, what worked, what didn't last year, because you always look back, even when you have new coordinators at the year before when you have some overlap personnel. So I didn't even realize I said it at the time, but Jake Johnson, and it's funny because he's the one who started the, kind of them pulling away from Auburn, scored the touchdown. His brother, Max, is the quarterback, one of the reasons Max went to A&M. So I did want to correct that. But looking at this coaching matchup, David, I mean, from an experience standpoint, from having an answer for everything, it's like watching Bobby Fischer play some Russian in chess. I forgot their names. Like this is about as good as it gets.
Boris.
Yeah, that's about right. Boris or Borat or whatever.
No, I'm so excited for the matchup on the field, but then also just from a macro perspective, Steve Sarkisian, several years at Texas now, been able to get the roster and the culture right. Brent Venables, year 2 at Oklahoma, been able to get the defense right a little bit better, right? Got the veteran quarterback in with Dylan Gabriel that he wanted. A couple other macro things here are, I think this is going to be one of the most important iterations of this matchup that we've ever seen. Not only because this is the final year in the Big 12, and both of these schools really want to win the Big 12 championship before they head to the SEC, but also the third time that we'll see both of these teams face off in the Red River Shootout when they're at least 5-0. So in 2002, 2008, and then that 2009 matchup is really the last time I can remember it being like really competitive, where Texas went on to play in the national championship that year. The last decade has pretty much been Oklahoma rolling. So, those are a couple things from just a high-level perspective. But then talking about the game planning and the matchups like you were talking about, I'm interested to see if Oklahoma's secondary can keep up with these elite wide receivers that Texas has. The defense has been playing better for Oklahoma. You saw them give up a couple big plays through the air against Iowa State last week. I went back and watched some of that game. So I'm interested to see that. And then can Oklahoma's front seven do what Alabama was unable to do and get to Quinn Ewers? If you're not going to get to Quinn Ewers and you can't pressure him or get some hurries and sacks, you're in for a long afternoon with the way Quinn Ewers throws the football. And then on the other side, for me, Dylan Gabriel's a gunslinger of the highest order. He's going to be, forcing a lot of throws. Can you make him turn the football over is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and you got Jeff Lebby on Oklahoma's side, who we know comes from the Bryles tree, literally. I mean, you look at the family situation they have going. I'm interested to see the pace of this game. I want to lean toward it being more high scoring, just because while Oklahoma has fixed a lot of that defense is totally different than this year than from last year, and we've talked about it multiple times. Oklahoma last year, it seemed to me, did not have the speed on defense to be able to keep teams from hitting explosive plays against them. It was like every time somebody would break into that second level, whether it be in the run game or they had a couple steps in the pass game, Oklahoma couldn't catch them. And on defense, sometimes you're going to give up plays. Like I looked at the Niners this past weekend. I don't think they'd given up a pass play over 25 yards. They did it a couple times against the Cardinals. Eventually, you're going to give up some big plays, but how big are those big plays?
Yeah.
The elite defenses are the ones that are able to take the plays that go for 80 and a touchdown, and all of a sudden they just go for 40. And now that offense has to run 3 to 5 more plays, which gives them more opportunities to screw up, more opportunities to have to kick a field goal when the field shrinks in the red zone, turning those 40-yard gains into 20-yard gains, those 20-yard gains into 12-yard gains, and those 12-yard gains into 5-yard gains. That's the goal of defense, because it's again, whether you're bend and don't break or whatever style of defense you end up being, nobody plans to be a bend but don't break defense. I hate when people say, oh, well, they're a bend but don't break defense. They've really accepted that identity. Nobody's going out there like, guys, let's give up a bunch of yards in between the 20s and just not give up a touchdown. No, you want to go out there and get after people from the jump. But then on the defensive side for Texas as well, this has been where I think Texas has made their biggest jump. We've seen them be really good offensively. Texas, to me, now, in my generation, I think of them as an offensive team.
Yeah.
Right? That front seven, like you mentioned, that has kind of elevated them into having a chance to be elite. They've been kind of in that Lincoln Riley-esque, let's score a lot of points. We're going to give up a lot of points. It's a track meet. We're losing to Kansas 60-58. What's going on? To now you look at Texas in that front seven, and Tim Brando called them Club Med, right? They've gone from Club Med to Judge Dredd, and I think that's been the biggest jump for Texas. So I'm interested to see the physicality of this game on the defensive side, but I lean toward it, Blaine, being more high scoring.
I mean, you got
too many good players.
It's obviously not going to be 40-0 like it was last year. Obviously, Brent didn't have the personnel he needed, and I think Oklahoma's defense got a lot better, but I don't think they're good enough yet to stop Texas. Because I think Texas right now, I mean, look at Texas offensively.
Complete.
I mean, offensive line, old heads, right? Old heads, just the chemistry between them is basically Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's going on. It's beautiful. Remember, Alabama didn't touch Quinn. He basically had COVID. Alabama didn't get close to him the whole game. And then you go and look at the most underrated thing about Texas is their running game, man. Jonathan Brooks is an extremely good back.
He's emerged.
He had 200 plus, and I think that's going to be a big key in this game because I think Oklahoma is extremely good. They're a fast defense. From sideline, they can run. But you go north and south on them, that's where you can be in trouble. And I think Texas deep down wants to run the ball. And if Texas can set up the run early, and now you have Adonai Mitchell, you have Worthy on the outside, now it becomes a problem. So if it's me, and I'm Brent Venables, and he's one of the greatest, and so is Sark when it comes to halftime adjustments, what do you do with Quinn? How do you approach this? Do you see if you can get there with 4? I don't think you can. I think Brent's going to have to do one of his best jobs in mixing fronts, mixing coverages, bringing corners. You have to get Quinn off his spot. That's the only way you're going to win this game, in my opinion, because I still don't think your defense is good enough just to come out here and stop Texas.
Well, Sark is so good at prepping his teams. I wonder if, again, you show pressure, you bail. You show pressure, you bring pressure. You show pressure from one side, you bring it from the other and drop. I just don't know, as well as Sark prepares his quarterbacks, how much you're going to be able to confuse Quinn Ewers. I think that the way that you're not stopping Texas, I think, is damn near impossible. I don't know if you're going to be able to stop them throughout the whole game, but the way you slow them down is you got to make them one-dimensional. You got to take away the run. And I think you got to heat him up, man. I think you got to heat him up and just make him make the one-on-one throws, because if you give him time, I'm watching Texas. There may not be a better, and I said this yesterday, anticipatory passer in college football than Quinn Ewers. There is not a coverage, whether it's pre-snap, when he's looking at the safeties, he's looking at the movement, he's looking at the leverage, mid-play adjustments. He knows where to go with the ball. He'll throw the check down. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? And when he does make mistakes, he typically makes them where down the field where you can get away with them, right? It's 3rd and 9. We're at our own 40. You took a shot maybe into double coverage, or you tried to sneak one in the safety. They pick it off at the 20. It's like a punt, right? Quinn Ewers doesn't make that detrimental mistake early. So if you try and take away the run game, right, which I know you're going to try and do anyway, but if you take away the run game and you make them one-dimensional, especially in this game when it's looking like they're not going to have their tight end, Jatavian Saunders, which is, again, not that he's blown it out of the water, but that's a security blanket. That's a matchup problem in the red zone. I just feel like you got to force him to be one-dimensional, and then you got to heat him up. You got to heat him up and let him get there, because Sark is going, just like he did against Bama, he's going to do things that go against the grain. He's going to tighten the split. You're like, all right, like when you went over the ping concept. Typically, you tighten the split to create space outside, right? You put guys either outside to go inside or inside to go outside. We always tell guys in the back end, if something is going away, if something's leaving, something's coming back. But he's putting guys on the inside, I mean, to basically run the post-dig concept, your ping concept. So the more you let this thing play out and you let those route combinations develop with as good as this offensive line is, I mean, Quinn's just going to rip your guts out.
The only thing that worries me when it comes to that, if you're going to heat him up, you better be able to tackle in space. Because you go back to the Iowa State game, there was someone heating him up, and that's how the big plays happen. And if you're going to do that against Texas, you better tackle in space, because they have the guys out there, and the one thing that can kill Oklahoma in this game is huge plays. If I'm Oklahoma, I want to die by 1,000 cuts. You're going to have to, I'm going to make Quinn hit the check down every single time, because I do think Quinn, he wants the long ball.
At least that gives you a chance in the red zone.
Absolutely.
That gives you a chance in the red zone to force field goals rather than give up big plays. But the over-under line right now is 60.5. I agree with you. I like points in this game. I like the over on that.
I do too, because the thing I worry about, if you're going to sit there and keep everything underneath and have them throw the check down, that's not how Oklahoma wants to operate on offense. That's going to limit Oklahoma's possessions with this new clock rule. Oklahoma wants to go, and they want to wear Texas's defense down with what they do offensively. So are you willing to risk you're limiting the possessions your offense gets to be able to keep everything in front of you? And at the end of the day, Sark in the red zone, that's what to me is the best play caller in football. Because when it comes down to the red zone, his designs, that's when you really find out. Offensive coordinators don't get paid, and you know this, Blaine, we all know this, to move the ball in between the 20s. You get paid to get first downs on third downs, and you get paid to score touchdowns in the red zone when the field shrinks, because that's when it's harder, right? We're going to go over, I'm going to go over a huddle-up defensive play in two-man, where Alabama is able to play a really condensed two-man because they're on defense in the red zone. Now I don't have to play a true half because I don't got to cover 30 yards behind me. So the field shrinks, that's when you really find out. It's just that's the yin and yang. That's the decision.
You got to think, as Sark is so good in the red zone, guess who else is?
Yeah, what
Brent
you're talking
Venables.
about, that's fine against the Baylors of the world, too, and really the Oklahoma States of the world, when you can win in a shootout and you want more possessions. But when Texas is over there and they can beat you in a shootout, too, it's like maybe Oklahoma needs to prove they can win by having fewer.
See, that's the beauty of it. That may be the right decision. But, again, this is why you're going against what you typically do for the sake of winning the game, which is always an interesting situation, especially with the new clock rule. But speaking of interesting situations, if you find this situation interesting, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate you guys in the chat as well. Also, before we got live call-ins today, the line's going to open at 8:15 a.m. Eastern, so make sure you get your calls in. We're going to be rocking and rolling through this thing. But now, all right, you guys ever search your name on the internet? I know. Listen, easy, Blaine. I know what happens when you search your name. There's a ton of info out on you with the way information brokers and people work now in the internet age, right? Where when we first started talking to Delete Me, our new sponsor, outside of when I Google my name and the football stuff comes up, there's a lot of information. Speaking of getting scouting reports, people can get a scouting report on you very, very quickly. Important information thanks to data brokers. Corporations, they collect huge amounts of personally identifiable information and package it together to create a profile or a listing with your personal info. We can include things like social security numbers. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me call Liam Neeson. Birthdays and info about your relatives, past and recent addresses, and they'll bug the hell out of you. All right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You live in the real world like we do, but with Delete Me, they can solve your problems. And now you can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/Crain. That's joindeleteme.com/Crain, Crain, and use our promo code Crain, spelled the same, Crain. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/Crain. Use that promo code at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/Crain. I'm telling you, y'all just Google it. It'll blow your mind. You think I'm messing around? Go Google your name, and you'll be absolutely shocked at what's on there, and you will be absolutely shocked at how great the merchandise we have is in our store. We're going to put that link. If you're in the chat, maybe instead of donating today, you go buy a shirt, something like that. We got some brand new designs. The team's been working really hard on them. We think you're going to like them. Some Win the Water Cooler shirts, a new Booster Club logo possibly. I don't know. Rumor has it TMZ's been showing up asking all week. So if you guys want that, just let us know.
All right, Booster Club, let's go. Let's have a big day today. Let's start off with Texas. Ed, #CNC. Who wins the special teams in this game? Texas, Oklahoma. That flips momentum, and momentum is a big factor in any game like this.
Well, it's the two things you think about the most when it comes to special teams, right, is field position and making field goals, when it counts. I think it's going to be somewhat even. When you look at both these teams, obviously they understand the importance of special teams. There's a big emphasis on it. And when you elevate your roster, you elevate your depth. When you elevate your depth, you elevate your special teams. And that doesn't mean you have to have Tavon Austin out there returning punts. That doesn't mean you have to have Devin Hester back there returning kicks. But again, you look at field position. We talk about the main things that decide football games, right? Turnovers, penalties, field position. You can have all three of those on special teams. I did a stat when I was coaching, I was a special teams coordinator, that teams that block a punt win the game 86% of the time. You talk about momentum changing plays, field position changing plays, and in a game that's going to be tight, right, that you think is going to be tight, it's going to be a one-score game, We talk about offense. We can talk about defense. That's great. But special teams can flip it on its head very, very quickly.
All right, let's go to That Guy Kick. He says Quinn plays better in big games than he does against opponents like Rice or Wyoming. I'm sure Quinn will show up in a big way in this game.
Oh, I'm not betting against Quinn.
How you guys feeling about the +6 right now? Oklahoma's +6.
Here's the way I feel about it. Do I want to take it? I don't want to go ahead and buy that thing up to 7.5 right now. I want to let it marinate and see if it can go up to 7.5 somewhere. Right now, gun to my head, I'm taking Oklahoma +6.
Me too.
I don't think this is.
I would take Oklahoma with those points. I think it's going to be closer than that. But then another thing to consider, though, is I think Texas has played much better competition.
So 100%.
When you look at the schedules, I don't know if Oklahoma's played a good football team. SMU's a good football team, I guess you could say, but not. They haven't played as tough of a schedule, obviously, that Texas had.
Yeah, but they have handled business though too.
They have.
I mean, there's something to be said for that. And there is something to be said for, this is your first big time game. Are you going to be too juiced up for it? But speaking about juiced up, I think the over-under's at 60.5.
It is.
What do you think's a better play? You think the over-under at 60.5 to take the over is a better play or take Oklahoma? I'm telling you, I like Oklahoma +6, but why would I jump at this thing now when, if it goes to 5.5, oh well.
It's already got bet down.
If it's going to go anywhere, it's probably going to go back up.
I think it opened at 7.5.
Yeah.
It opened at 7.5?
Sure, yeah.
Wow.
It was at 6.5 last night.
Do you know what the over-under opened at?
I do not. No, I do not. But I think it was, you said it's 60.5 right now?
60.5 right now. If you force me to pick between which one I like the most, I like the over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like Texas to cover in this game.
You like Texas minus the 6?
Yeah, I just think Texas is a better football team than Oklahoma, and I think they've shown it throughout the year. I think Oklahoma's obviously better, right, especially with that defense. I don't know how you could be worse than what you had last year. Mm-hmm. But you look at this Texas team, right, what are they bad at? What are they bad at?
They're a complete team, but I mean, I look at Oklahoma, what are they bad at?
I don't think your defense is great.
Why not?
I don't think you're athletic enough to keep up with Texas.
But I thought you said the athletes are a lot better on defense.
Yeah, they are from last year. If you compare to last year,
here's what I'm looking at. All these guys on defense, all offseason and all we have heard about is getting their ass beat 49-0 against Texas. Now embarrassing the defense was last year. Brent Venables is one of the best motivators in college football. Mm-hmm. I would be shocked if this defense showed up and didn't play well. Now, what does play well against Texas mean? Does that mean give up 30? Does that mean give up 27? I watched Texas left some points out there against Bama, who's got a pretty good defense too. So I'm not saying they're going to come in here and hold Texas to 17 points, but there's something to be said in a rivalry game. Everybody's going to be talking about Quinn, right? Everybody's going to be talking about the wide receiver group and the offensive line and the emerging run game of Texas and, can Texas win the Natty? Not a lot of people are talking about Oklahoma being a legitimate problem down the road. I think that's somewhat of an advantage for Oklahoma and Brent Venables. He has that chip on the shoulder factor. I'm telling you, man, I don't think it'd be crazy to let it marinate and see if this thing goes up to 7 or 7 in the hook and take Oklahoma. If it goes up to +7.5, I think you got to take it.
I don't know if it'll get back up there.
It probably won't. But if you want to play it safer, and that's what you want to do when you're trying to make money, this could very easily be a 34-27 game, which gets you to 61. The question to me is not as much as Oklahoma going to go back up to +7.5 with the hook. Is this 60.5 number going to go up? That's the question to me. I don't know.
I would think so. That's a good point, kind of what you just said. Sasha said Texas had 4 red zone possessions Saturday and only 1 touchdown against Kansas.
Yeah, again, I don't know if Sark emptied the whole bag red zone wise. Again, go back and watch him against Bama in the red zone. You had the drop by Worthy early. And look, they've hit a bunch of explosive plays. They had some big-time explosive plays against Alabama. But especially in the NFL, you get those NFL guys, that red zone bag is very deep, very, very deep. But what are some other ones you'll like?
For bets?
Game?
Okay.
No, just in general. What do you like, Blaine? Which one do you like?
We still talking about the Texas-Oklahoma game here?
No, man, it's just another one.
I'm really confused at this Washington State-UCLA game. Washington State's a dog in this game.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? I watched UCLA play against Utah. Obviously, their quarterback's young, but he's going to come along. I think Washington State's a better football team than UCLA.
Yeah, I think they are. I tell you what's crazy about UCLA this year. They're more of a defensive team. If you look at UCLA, I mean, I think they're top 15 right now in yards given up per play. Just weird to see. They want to go fast. I'm watching them on offense. It's just how much does Chip trust the quarterback situation. I mean, we saw what happened against Utah. I know that was on the road, but Blaine, I'm with you. Cam Ward right now is playing as good as anybody in the country. There's something about this Washington State team. They're +4 on the road, right? They're +4.
Yeah, well, it's +4. I saw some.
I wrote that one down too. I was shocked to see.
Yeah,
I didn't understand. I thought an injury was going on. That I didn't know. I was like, what's going on with Cam Ward?
I haven't seen any injury.
No, me neither. And you saw Utah play against UCLA. I mean, that's fine. It was a defensive battle, but you're not going to do that against Washington State. There's no way. And I don't think UCLA can keep up with them on offense.
No, I agree with that. It's just it's one of those things where, and Dante Moore's going to be a freak. Like he's going to be a really, really good player. It's just I think Washington State's already there, and they've kind of, Coach Dickert out there has really used that underdog moniker. I would not be shocked at all to see Washington State. I don't think this would be a bad dog bet. I don't know what they are on the money line. I can look it up right here. But I don't think this would be a bad dog bet. They're +154.
Yeah.
It's still at +4. Over-under's 59. I don't really like the over-under. I would rather take Washington State +4. But I tell you boys one I like for Friday. I like the under in this Kansas State-Oklahoma State game at 54.5. I just feel like the pace of this game, Oklahoma State, it's a merry-go-round at quarterback. I mean, you've rotated more quarterbacks than just about anybody in the country. You're searching. That Oklahoma State's an 11.5-point underdog at home. I know Will Howard's been a little bit beat up, but both these teams want to run the ball. When they do throw it, it's pretty much heavier play action. I don't see this game. I don't see one of these teams. This just feels like a 27 to 10 type.
See, my fear with that was, what if Kansas State just comes out and thumps them
and just drops a 45 piece?
Comes out and puts up 45, and then Oklahoma State scores a couple late or something like that.
Like Oklahoma just kind of gives up.
That was my thought when I saw, because I was thinking under 2 in that game.
Kansas State just lost so much on defense, man. They lost so much on defense. And I think it showed in that Missouri game, too. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't watched Oklahoma State play a game this year.
Well,
after they lost to South Alabama, I was like, nah.
No, it's bad. I've watched them play a couple. It's gotten to the point now where defensively, always before the year, you're like, hey, man, if the offense isn't rock and rolling, that's fine. Defense, we'll pick them up. We'll do this. But, eventually you get into, week 6 or week 7, and you realize the offense sucks. And there's no way you're going to win anything of significance because the offense is so bad. It does take a toll on the defense eventually, especially when games start to snowball and get out of hand. So I wonder, I feel like this is one of those. And Missouri's offense and Oklahoma State's offense are two totally different animals right now. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum. But I love the under in this game. It's on Friday at 54.5. I would be shocked if this over-under did not get bet down.
I like an under in the Alabama-Texas A&M game. It's at 48.5 right now. I really like the under. I think both of these defenses are going to get after the opposing quarterbacks. Now, you saw Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers at Texas come into Tuscaloosa, and they really they cooked up Alabama with some of those concepts, those deep shots that we were talking about. Quinn Ewers isn't on the other side of that field. Now, I like Max Johnson, but I think Alabama's defense, you saw how they responded when they played Lane Kiffin, right? And Ole Miss really just couldn't do anything offensively, and look what they just came off doing to LSU. I think you're going to see both these defenses get after these quarterbacks, and on the Texas A&M side, too. Don't be surprised if Jalen Milroe turns this football over a couple times. I think it's going to be an ugly, scrappy football game, and the under hits.
Man, I am with you 100%. I mean, my gut's telling me for that game and the Georgia-Kentucky game, which
I have that one, too.
But I look in, and we've talked a lot, and we should, and we talked about it yesterday. Alabama has struggled to run the ball like typical Alabama. And it's put Jalen Milroe in a spot where he has to become a pocket passer on 3rd and 6 or above. And, he can run around and out-athlete some people. But A&M's having trouble running the ball, too. Like this game, it's such a simple... Sometimes it's the answer is simple. Sometimes it's not some convoluted, it's super in-depth, look at this detail or that detail or whatever. Whichever team is able to run the ball more successfully in this game on early downs is going to win. Because I do trust Max Johnson throwing the ball more on 3rd and long than I do Jalen Milroe. I do trust Jalen Milroe to be able to create more, on 3rd and 3s and stuff like that from and we've seen Tommy Rees and them run RPOs and zone reads and things like that. It's just, again, man, A&M or Alabama struggled to run the ball, but A&M has struggled to run the ball too. What gives? What defense do you trust less to be able to stop the run? Is it Bama or is it Texas?
I don't know. Who's going to get to the passer? You know, that's what I'm looking at. Because I go back to that Alabama-Texas game. I mean, you didn't touch Quinn. I mean, I go back to that Texas A&M Miami game. Hell, Texas A&M couldn't get in the backfield.
I'm with
and I know
that.
Miami, Cristobal's got that. Miami's offensive line's good. They're extremely good. But who can get to who when it comes to quarterback? Because obviously I trust Max more not to make the mistakes that Milroe will make. Because I think that comes with experience. I think you can lean on Max when it comes to that. But I think Bama's defensive line, and I go back kind of the Ole Miss game, right? Bama's sacked Ole Miss 5 times, right? And you go back to LSU, Ole Miss. LSU didn't touch Jackson Dart one time, no sacks. And whoever can get to the quarterback in this game, I think, is going to start dictating the pressure on who and who's going to make the easiest plays, who's going to be most comfortable. Because if Jalen Milroe can sit back there, all right, and have time and can dissect and can make easy throws and feel comfortable, I like Texas. And if Max can sit back there and be okay, then I like Texas A&M more than I like Alabama.
So you're talking about Jalen Milroe sitting back there and having time. See, that's what I don't want to see.
No, I'm not talking 3 to 5 step drops. I'm talking about
he has to be a 1 read, maybe 2 read
and
guy,
then I'm gone.
The ball has to come out. It's just like we were talking about with Zach Wilson the other day with the Jets. Right now, I don't want to see you trying to get to the 3rd and 4th read. That's not your game right now. You know, I would be moving the pocket, rolling him. Alabama?
You're going to lose. If you don't have a quarterback, you can get to your 3rd and 4th progression. In the SEC, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the game.
So if you don't have it,
if you don't
have it, I don't want to see him sit.
You somewhat saw it. You somewhat saw it at Mississippi State. I saw him get through reads at Mississippi State.
No, he ran for 193 yards against me.
But in the 15 passing attempts he had, there's plenty of those passing attempts when he went through his progression.
The level of athlete that they're about to play at A&M is so much different than the level of athlete that they just played at Mississippi State. They're not going to be able to sit. Jason McClellan isn't going to be running through A&M like a sieve. Jalen Milroe, while he will hit some plays running and moving around and doing things like that because he's that athletic, isn't going to be able to just go out there and paint pretty pictures against A&M. This defense isn't built like that. They've stacked 5-star on 5-star and 5-star. They got guys running around on that defensive line. They got guys like Shamar Stewart that can play against Jalen Milroe. If the plan for Alabama is Jalen Milroe to sit back in a 3-step and a 5-step when his ass can't see a corner that's sinking against a 3-man smash concept and he's throwing balls to safeties that are driving on square ends.
You're going to have to do it.
They're not going to score. Here's what you do. You've got to get, just like David said, you have 1 to 2 read, maybe the second read. And most of the time, that second read, if you can't run, needs to be the check down. That's the only way that they're going to stay on schedule. That's the only way. And then you hope at the end of the day, it gets to the point where if you are rolling the pocket, you are doing sprint out, that A&M has to start manufacturing pressure. Mm-hmm. And when they manufacture pressure, Jalen Milroe can make one of them miss and take off. But that's not what DJ Durkin's going to do. DJ Durkin is going to bring forward and zone pressure this guy because it's basically like having a spy. And he's going to make him say, all right, if you're going to go from A to B to C and then go, we have the athletes that can get you on the ground. And if you're going to go from A to B and C, you're going to throw it to every intermediate defender we have. And it's going to cost them the game because it's going to be a low-scoring game because I don't think A&M is going to be able to run the ball. I think Max Johnson, in the greatest stroke of irony ever, in the matchup between Max Johnson and Jalen Milroe, is going to have to be the one that runs to have more success on offense. I'm telling you, there's no way in hell that Jalen Milroe sitting back, you can't say you got to go through your progressions.
What's Texas A&M's game plan going to be on defense?
Drop.
We're going to keep Jalen Milroe in the pocket.
Yes,
that's going to be
A&M's that with
game
4
plan.
in his
So
spy
if you think you're just going to sprint out and go through 1 to 2 reads in the pocket and think A&M's not going to sit on that shit all day, you're insane. You have to have somewhat of Jalen Milroe. I'm not saying 10 dropbacks a game, but you're going to have some plays where he's going to have to get a drop and take the top off the defense. If not, Texas A&M is just going to sit on them the entire
I don't disagree with that, but you just
taking the top off of defense is not what I was talking about. Like, yeah, he can take a 3-step drop in the pocket and throw the ball as far as he can and hit a big shot. That's not working through progression. I'd rather see him do that than work through his 4th progression and getting a check down because I haven't seen it all season. That's the part that I'm talking about. And a big part of what you're talking about with staying on schedule is you can't have any procedure penalties.
No.
You can't have any.
No, and that crowd's going to be,
and that really goes for both teams, but especially with what we're talking about with Alabama's mindset going in.
Yeah,
like you can't be getting behind the chain.
No, for sure. And what I mean by sprint outs is 3rd and 5, running pick plays, running pick routes to be able to get him open, make an easy throw to run the rub routes. You may get an offensive pass interference here and there, but it makes it easier on them. I just don't trust, if I'm a Bama fan, Jalen Monroe sitting back in the pocket multiple times during the game and relying on him to be able to pick A&M's secondary apart. That's just a scary deal for me because Alabama receiver is not what they typically have been either.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they call, though.
Yeah.
That's what Tommy Rees has
That's what he's been called. That's the biggest question.
Well, I think he's had done a little bit better last week. I mean, tailoring it somewhat to Jake.
I do agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. LSU, Missouri, just to get to a couple more of these. I don't know how I don't pick the over in this.
I wrote down Missouri plus 6.5, to be honest.
By the point.
What's the over right now?
The over 63.5.
63.5.
I just don't like, how can I not take the over? I know they're going to try and shut down Luther Burden, and LSU's defense is going to be pissed off. But is this one where you wait it out before you buy the point, Blaine? Do you wait until Friday to see which one?
I think this game started at 7.5 spread-wise. I think it started at 61 over and under, too, 61.5. So I think it's already gotten bet up. I just don't, this game is so weird to me, man. If anything, I'm buying Missouri 7.5. This is Missouri at home. And Jake, you mentioned this on the show the other day. This is going to be Missouri's Super Bowl now.
For sure.
It's going to be the Super Bowl, and I promise you. Eli Drinkowitz is going to have these boys ready to play. And it goes back to yesterday. What LSU defense shows up? Who shows up for the defense on LSU?
Well, you say, like, all right, how many weapons does Missouri have? Oh, well, they just have Luther Burden. Well, LSU's known a lot of weapons that other guys have, and they couldn't stop them.
Schrader's a problem, too.
Like, I'm not to the point with I'm past the point with LSU. I know LSU knows. I know. I think I know they know, but they can't stop it. It's one thing to know. It's another thing to be able to stop it. So, I mean, why would I not? And I don't think Missouri can stop LSU consistently. Offense is not the problem. And Brian Thomas has elevated this team. We can talk about Malik Neighbors all we want, and we should. We can talk about the running back room and Jaden Daniels, and we should, and the offensive line, and we should. But Brian Thomas is talking himself into, like, second round. Like,
yeah. No,
guys that big should not be that quick.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big, long, and quick. He's not some long strider. I mean, he's tut. It's crazy to watch, but I like
that over. I like the over in the Maryland OSU game at 57.
I know.
What's that 19.5 point spread?
57, yeah. It shocked me a little bit, too. I like the over in the North Carolina-Syracuse game at 59.
I like Notre Dame minus 6.5 against Louisville.
See, I tell you what, go back to the North Carolina-Syracuse. I kind of like Syracuse plus 8.5 in that game.
Do you?
I do.
Really?
I think North Carolina's going to win. But I think Syracuse with that run game, North Carolina's defense is better than it was last year. Obviously, it's kind of hard to be worse than they were. But part of me and that's not a play that's not a game I'm gonna play. But instinctually, if I had to play that game, I would take Syracuse plus 8.5. But boys, I'm telling you, one that I'm absolutely head over heels in love with. All right, just like James Madison last week in South Alabama, which, by the way, James Madison is a wagon, an absolute wagon cover machine. Army. -3 at home against Boston College. I would buy that half point, take it at -2.5. I love Army at home in this game. Absolutely love Army at home in this game, -2.5. The sides, I know Boston College had that win. They pulled it out late against Virginia in that comeback. I just like Army, man. Every time I've taken them, they won me some big money against Syracuse.
How about Wyoming plus 5?
I mean, not Syracuse.
Plus 5.5 versus Fresno.
So Wyoming's one of the weirdest teams ever. When they're favored by like 10 or more, they never cover. When they're at home and it's like a tight spread either way, they always cover. So if the spread's close and Wyoming's up there in Laramie, 8 million feet above sea level, basically right next to Mercury, give me Wyoming.
I'll tell you a couple 2-touchdown spreads I like. I like Kentucky plus 14.5 at Georgia. Not so much that I think Georgia's on upset alert, but just the way both teams run the ball combined with the new clock rules. And we saw last week Georgia can be a little vulnerable, even though that was on the road. Now I do think Georgia's going to stack the box and make Devin Leary beat him, but there are worse quarterbacks to have to try and beat you.
100%.
He's proven he can do it. Plus, you get the hook over the 2 touchdowns. And then also Rutgers is plus 14 at Wisconsin right now. I mean, Rutgers, good football team, getting 2 touchdowns on the road. Wisconsin hadn't proven to be a world beater just yet.
Yeah, Wisconsin's kind of methodical too. On that same methodology and reasoning you just gave for Kentucky, Georgia is why I locked in the under this morning at 48.5. And I see it's already down to 48. The reason for that is all week, Georgia, Kirby Smart's going to be running around with that bullhorn, screaming, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. The difference between LSU and Georgia is I think Georgia obviously knows the problem, but they can fix it. I know they don't have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and some of these other guys, but these cats are only going to get better as the season goes on. I don't trust Devin Leary to be able to make the throws, even on 3rd and 5 against these guys when they're going to walk Malachi Starks down and guys like that to be able to jump to underneath. The only thing that scares me about this under is if Kentucky gets to 13 points, I think their TTP is 13.5 right now. If they get to 13 points, is Georgia going to score a touchdown on special teams and get like a pick 6?
Yeah,
like
that's what you
That's
worry
what
about,
scares me. Like, are we sitting here and it's 24-13 and you're feeling good about it heading in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden some little white witch from Georgia runs a punt back, and then Kentucky has to start throwing the ball down the field, and he throws one right to Bullard or Malachi Starks.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing that worries me. But with that new clock rule, like, Kentucky's not bad on defense either.
No.
Like, they're better than Auburn is on defense. Like, in my opinion, not by a ton.
And depth.
Not, they have more depth up front. I think they have a better chance to get to Carson Beck than what Auburn had. So for that same methodology, I like Kentucky.
I agree with that. And I don't know why I wouldn't go with the Fighting Conies again this week.
Yeah.
Against
Wagon.
Minnesota. It started at,
19.5?
I'm pretty sure it started at 17.5. Last time I looked at it, it's at 19.5 already. All right, so look, Minnesota's just a little bit better version of Nebraska.
But are they good enough? See, I almost like the under more at 46 because they are better than Minnesota's defense, I think. And I know Nebraska's strength is their defense. Minnesota plays really good defense at home. I'm wondering if they'll slow down J.J. I don't see Michigan running through Minnesota offensively. Talking about Michigan's offense and Minnesota's defense the way they did Nebraska. Just that was so clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just such a clean, like, just the guillotine, just chopped the head straight off. He didn't get stuck on a neck bone or anything like that. I don't know. I almost like the under in that game more, but the Louisville Notre Dame one, man, to me, I'm just sitting here looking at it and wondering. Because Brown and them are playing slow.
Minnesota gave up 31 points to North Carolina at home. They gave up 34 points to Northwestern. You gave up 25 points against Lafayette. Michigan's going to roll y'all boys.
I don't know. See, Minnesota, man, I'm just telling you. That
if you give up 34 points to Northwestern, I can't believe you. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
I watched that game. You gave up 10. You really, yeah. Believe me, I watched that game. It was the last leg of my 17-leg parlay. I'm having, like, war flashbacks now thinking about it. You're up 31-10 in the fourth quarter, and you just laid down. Just absolutely insane the way that happened. The North Carolina game, I can understand a little bit, but Minnesota's going to get up for this one. Like, there's always that one or two games where PJ Fleck, not that they're going to stop Michigan, but I don't know, is this a game that Michigan wins 24 to
I think they score more than that.
7?
I think so,
And
too.
then they're going to put in some backups at the end and give up that late touchdown.
No.
Look,
A lot of guys.
No, don't say that, Dave.
and backdoor.
No, not backdoor.
Okay,
the
good.
cover necessarily. I'm talking about the over/under. Like
Okay.
I'm worried about
Okay, yeah.
48.
All
All
right.
right. We want to know what bets you like the most. Any others that you guys that tickle your fancy?
No, but we'll be talking about it all week.
We definitely will. You know what a lot of people are talking about during the week?
Genucell. Our Nugenix.
Yeah, you were close.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about Genucell
I talk about
too.
both.
But they're talking about guys being tired of losing testosterone.
Yeah.
All right. As you age, that T goes down.
Total.
Goes down, man. All right. You feel tired. All right. We know some other aspects of your life may not be as fiery as it used to be. You know what I'm talking about, I think. It's live your own life. But over at Nugenix, they got a handle, man. All right. They have Nugenix Total T lets you try it before you buy it too. All right. And you get a complimentary sample when you text 231231 and enter the keyword Crain. It's a natural testosterone booster with Testofen. All right. That'll help you turn back the clock and re-energize your life. You want to feel younger? You want to walk around with your big boy pants on again?
Yes,
Yes, I know you do.
I do. Give me the big boy pants now.
That's with Nugenix Total T.
I'm totally teeing off right now.
Blaine's used. Blaine, you use it.
I'm totally teeing.
Look, jacked and tan. That's how you got to live your life. Testofen is validated in 5 clinical studies and backed by years of human research. All right, so get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text 231231 and enter keyword Crain, C-R-A-I-N. Text now, and you'll get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X. You want to know why, guys? Because that new fat is out of here, mister. All right, they're new. It's the most powerful fat incinerator ever. That's so much fun to do. With key ingredients to help you lose fat fast and get lean even faster. Absolutely free. Text 231231, enter keyword Crain, C-R-A-I-N, 231231, enter keyword Crain, C-R-A-I-N. Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated text message. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates apply. Number 1 doctor recommended brand by primary physicians based on independent survey conducted by IQVIA 2022.
Well done.
Thank you, man. All right. Got a lot to get to. I know we want to get to calls. The lines are open right now. Before we get back to the Boosters Club, Dave, we have a little Monday Night Football action.
Monday Night Football, the Seahawks
Gross.
beat the Giants 24-3. They're now 3-1. Giants are 1-3. Geno Smith went down in the first half, but he came back in the second half. I don't think that's going to be a serious injury that affects him. I think Brian Daboll's done with Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones sucks.
I could just see it.
Well, the offensive line sucks too. I mean, you gave up more sacks than-
I could just tell, like, I know that look because I've had coaches look at me like, you know, I think Brian Daboll's done with Daniel.
It's like that. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
I'm not mad. You just aren't playing for me anymore.
Yeah. It's just it's typically, you know, there's certain things you can point at. You're like, man, that's bad, but this was good. The only thing I can point at that was good, I was like, man, Wan'Dale Robinson looks good.
Yeah, he's good.
Wan'Dale's good. You want to know how Kentucky was good? You want to know how Will Levis got drafted so high? I can give you one reason. That little witch.
Monday games in the NFL have been trash.
They've been bad.
They've been absolute garbage.
I mean, when you give up that many sacks and you're turning the ball over like that, you know, I got to the point I felt bad for the Giants defense, man.
Daniel Jones' face just pisses me off.
Well,
he's just such a deer in the headlights look. And as your quarterback, I don't need that. It's like you go back to Peyton Thorne against
Texas
A&M. You'd have thought he was seeing Dementors fly around the field.
Yeah, you thought he just all of a sudden
Daniel
became
Jones
blind.
just looks deathly afraid. Daniel Jones doesn't look like he's having fun.
No.
At any point,
with that
they could
offensive
be up
line,
40.
you think he'd be having
They
fun?
could be up 40.
I think there's enough blame to go around. I think you can blame a lot on Daniel Jones, but that offensive line, look, you're missing Andrew. You see why they paid Andrew Thomas all that money at tackle. Like, they're missing some of those offensive
Tackles matter.
The Seahawks had double-digit sacks last night. I can't remember the last time I seen that. It's been weird sack stuff this week. I watched Khalil Mack have 6 sacks by himself. That's a lot of sacks. All right. And then last night, the Giants, there were sacks all over the place.
How many sacks does it take?
There's some great sacks going
How many
on.
sacks does it take?
There was a lot, but that was just bad across the board.
If it's starting to feel like the Giants draft a quarterback early in the first round.
Bo
Like
Nix?
like a Bo Nix, Michael. Well, it depends on how bad they end up being this year. I mean, they might get up there really high.
When does Daniel Jones go to the Falcons?
Spider-Man Jeff, him, Desmond Ritter.
Maybe it's a thing
I don't know.
where,
I'm taking Daniel Jones over Desmond Ritter.
Daniel Jones got CFL written all over him.
I see.
CFL written all
I
over
think
him.
you're being too tough.
Oh, maybe a backup. He might be a backup.
He is a backup.
Who's he going to start for?
Falcons.
The Falcons? I mean, you're about to well keep Desmond Ritter. At least he's younger than Daniel Jones.
Cardinals.
Yeah, a little bit at least.
Like
I don't know. At least he came out later, I guess. But no, Daniel Jones is not a good enough quarterback to start in the NFL.
It's just like, I looked at Daniel Jones and for a second I thought he just got that Toy Story.
But dude, you want to tell you someone who is a
it's
dog?
like too perfect. Daniel Jones' facial structure just too perfect.
Witherspoon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I think he had the
that in
first
Illinois.
6 tackles.
You can see why he went above Jalen Carter.
Did you
and some
see
of
that
those
stat
guys.
where last year in college at Illinois, he had more interceptions
Than touchdowns given up? I did.
He's a problem.
Five
And they kept
interceptions.
throwing at him. Why?
Yeah.
Stop it.
But the thing is,
Look at him
on
and Tariq Woolen.
on a couple of those hits, he's not even playing corner. They're like bringing him down in a nickel.
Yeah.
slide corner. Like he
One of
wants
those
to hit people.
Superman.
One of
role.
those hits, if he'd have done that in college, he'd be in jail.
Yeah.
He'd be in jail.
Yeah, he'd be locked up. But again, another Monday night
Okay, so fun to
clunker.
watch, man.
Won my Survivor League game though, still in it.
There you go.
Way to go.
There
Keep
you
this
go.
train moving,
I
man.
don't want to jinx it. But speaking about Survivor, we got some wild card games tonight. Major League.
Yeah, wild card game. So we got the Rangers at Tampa Bay. Rangers just missed out on winning that division.
Hey,
Yeah.
your
I think
team.
they had the record,
playoffs.
the same record as the Astros, but lost the head-to-head or something like that.
Jordan Montgomery, Tyler Glasnow, a heck of a pitching matchup. Love Nerfies in the playoffs.
Yeah, so you'll
Love
see what I'm taking
Nerfies
today.
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them.
Yankees are not in, I don't care.
Toronto at the Twins.
Give me the Twins.
I like Gosman in this spot, but I do think Minnesota, just for our boy that calls in.
Yeah.
Is it Jack? Like, it's from Minnesota, I'm just rooting for him. Like, come on, win him a playoff game.
Yeah, I believe.
National League matchups. We got the Diamondbacks at the Brewers.
Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns on the mound.
Sneaky. I like the Brewers in this one. You know, it's one of those matchups where neither team has a bunch of elite players on it. They just have a bunch of really good players, which typically gives you some really good baseball. But I like Corbin Burns to go 7 shoving tonight.
Then the NL East got 3 teams in, so we have an all NL East matchup today with
Best division in
the
baseball.
Marlins and the Phillies.
I'm kind
Marlins
of
at
down on the
Phillies.
MLB right now after what they did to Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, that's
Disgusting. Sue him.
Yeah, I'd sue them. I'd sue
I'd sue the hell out of them.
That's exactly right. I'd be the commissioner before it was done. I like the Phillies tonight, even though the Marlins, they're scary. Arias, who's I swear is a reincarnated Tony Gwynn. That's right, I said it. I do like the Phillies tonight, though.
Yeah, I'd roll with the Phillies as well.
Wheeler and Dealer.
I like.
But nobody's
Wheeler
touching
on
the Braves.
mound for the
Braves.
Phillies.
How about the Orioles? Still though, greatest story in baseball.
Can't escape this guy.
1 seed, first round bye after what they looked like last year. You got to love that
incredible.
for Baltimore.
I love watching Orioles play baseball, man. I really do.
Hunter Henderson, Selma, Alabama.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I like watching those guys play baseball.
Adley
What a
Rutschman,
turnaround.
kicker for Oregon State. People forgot that. He tackled Christian McCaffrey.
He was a kicker for Oregon State?
Yeah, he tackled Christian McCaffrey.
Wow,
Look,
That's how you know it's
You want to know how I knew?
Put that.
That's
on the
when I
resume.
knew.
That's how you know it's real.
Yeah, that's when I knew. But
All right, we'll get to the chat.
before we get the call.
Bubba and the old man, $2 donation. Cone has beautiful eyes. War Eagle, Cone. You have just absolutely stunning eyes.
That's not what he said. He said I have weirdly small eyes. I saw what he said.
Yeah, I think they look great. Let's go to UT Parking.
Didn't get
I didn't
passed
know
down-
how that was good.
Which, look, I'm not going to argue with him. I got these slit eyes, but it didn't get passed down to my kids. So that's good.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect, whoever did that donation. UT Parking, $2 donation.
Daniel Jones said.
He says OU's acceptance rate is literally over 80%. What a bunch of idiots. Let's go
I
back.
feel like you added the bunch of idiots.
100% I did. NCAF Nation 247.
Hey, what's up, my guy?
Nation, $5 donation. Ray Davis is currently 5th in my Heisman rankings, and Luther Burden is 7th.
Yeah.
Which one has the best chance of finishing the top 10 of Heisman rankings?
Ray Davis, go win this weekend. You'll be in there.
Yeah, I mean, you're both going to have opportunities. I just feel like Missouri, and it's crazy. This may sound crazy to some people. I trust Brady Cook
You're crazy.
more than Devin Leary.
That's not
I
crazy.
do. I think this Missouri offense is a little bit more versatile than Kentucky's, which is going to open it up a little bit more for Luther Burden, and Luther Burden can return kicks and things like that. I'm going to go Luther Burden because outside of Ray Davis, there's really nobody on Kentucky's offense that I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
scares me. Look, Ray's an NFL running back.
Yeah.
NFL running back. Like
Vandy's just like, damn.
yeah. Well, they knew. It's not like Clark Lee didn't know.
It's like, look,
They're like,
Ray,
all right, hey guys, Ray Davis is gone. Hey Tobin, get in there.
it's like, Ray, we can give you $37 of NIL.
yes,
Well,
Please stay.
the teeth of both of these schedules are coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, I even had Missouri starting 4-1.
$37.
I had them starting 4-1. They started 5-0. So, look, can you keep it going against LSU? They're going to play each other. Actually, Missouri goes to Kentucky.
I would say Luther Burden. NCAA, I would say Luther Burden because I just feel like Missouri is not as one-dimensional as Kentucky is, which made what Kentucky did to Florida even more impressive. And look, some people will disagree with me with Devin Leary, but that's fine. Dissent moves us forward.
All right, we got another one from Bubba and the old man, $2 donation. Petrino versus Steele, the great battle of Viagra Hills.
Yeah. It's like if Gandalf fought Dumbledore.
Let's go to David Leachman with the $10 donation. David, hiya, thank you. OU running game versus Texas running game is a big edge to Texas. Also, Levy versus PK is another chess match.
There's great coaching matchups all over this game. I agree with that. I wonder how much of that is annexed, though, are downplayed a little bit because Dylan Gabriel, not that Quinn can't run. I think Quinn losing that weight, you watch him move around, he's a lot more twitchy than he used to
Lost
be.
that mullet.
Lost that mullet, lost that gut. But I think Dylan Gabriel, this is one of those games you're like, listen, Dylan, I know you've gotten hurt, all right, Archangel, but you can run, you run this game.
Yeah.
You run to go get that first down on 3rd and 8. We have to have it. This is why we brought you here. This is why you came back.
Ryan Gade, $5 donation. Hashtag Smack Talk. TCU fans eat pizza with a fork and knife.
Can I say something, though?
Depends on what you're going to say.
When Blaine was 11, no. Overseas in Europe, like, they don't make pizza and cut it, like, in slices. Like, you literally have to use a fork and a knife because it's like either that or you tear it away. I just
Italy.
That's why we beat them in wars.
They cut it
You're
in
French
Italy.
spy.
Yeah.
They cut it in Italy. That's
Yeah.
crazy because we were right on the border of Italy at an Italian place, and they did.
Yeah, you've never even been
Well, I
there.
was
Why-
in
Yeah, how many
Italy.
times have you been there? How many
Justine,
times
you
have
just
been
need to
in
worry
Italy?
about Daniel Jones'
I've been to
performance.
Venice, thank you.
You've been to Venice, Florida?
Venice Beach?
Venice,
Yeah.
Italy.
Venice, California?
All right, let's go to Nathan Johnston, $5 donation. Big fantasy question here. Should I drop Tyler Boyd or Gabe Davis? I would drop Tyler Boyd,
I would
correct?
drop-
Keep
yeah,
Gabe-
Gabe Davis
Gabe
scores
Davis.
a touchdown like every game.
That's why they call him
Davis is
Touchdown
playing
Gabe.
well, man.
Yeah. Hit that GD.
All right, let's go to B2B. Visor, he says, Brock Bowers is the best player in college football. Give him the Heisman. Well, I had a conversation with somebody. When's the last player for Georgia to come out as good as Brock Bowers?
The last player? Man,
I'll wait.
Nick Chubb's pretty good.
Matt Stafford went number one.
I'm thinking defensively. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, half the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles team.
Who would you rather have? Jalen Carter or Brock Bowers?
It depends on what I need, but Brock Bowers.
You need both. Yeah, thank you. All right.
I'm just looking at what Travis Kelce does week in and week out.
I've said this a million times. The hardest position I don't think Brock Bowers gets enough credit as a blocker either.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got a lot better at that.
Well, like people assume that if you're a good receiver, there's no way you can be a great blocker. Like, look, Travis Kelce, not a great blocker, right? I think Brock Bowers is a better blocker as a prospect coming out than Travis Kelce. But there's like a common misconception that, since you catch the ball good, you must be more prima donna wide receiver than you must be blocker. See, I disagree with that. Like Brock's in that rare air of, again, it's a lot harder to find a guy that can block in line, can go seal on the split zone, can run routes, make the catches that Brock Bowers makes, take the jet sweep like Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers line up at running back and play. He's that good. And then on defense, finding a nickel or a slot corner that can cover a slot receiver and also be heavy against the run and be good on pressures. Those guys aren't walking around because they're versatile, right? But speaking about versatile, before we get to call-ins, if you're on the line, hang on. Our own David Cohn.
I love this segment.
Speaking about Brock Bowers.
Yeah. Let's, David, go ahead and intro your huddle up here, dog.
All right, look, Brock Bowers' big touchdown against Auburn. You were there. You saw it in person, Blaine, so I wanted to break it down. Run it. All right, huddle up. Let's take a look at Georgia's final go-ahead touchdown against Auburn when Brock Bowers took a basic route for a 40-yard touchdown. This is gun, left whip flex, Ricky Devo, Z-spin, H-burst. Let's break it down. We're in the shotgun here. We got one running back and one tight end. So this is 11 personnel in a left whip flex formation. So this is a 2x2 set with Brock Bowers, our tight end, flexed and detached from the line of scrimmage. Ricky is our pass protection. Since all 5 skill players are free release on routes, this means the offensive line is all by themselves in a 5-man pass pro. Now, we got a split concept here. What does that mean? The receivers to the field are running different routes than the receivers to the boundary. Let's start with Devo. This is our vertical concept to the field. All right, the X and the A receivers are running go routes. Z spin, this is our concept to the boundary. Our number 1 receiver is on a whip route. Number 2 is on a 12-yard basic. And we've designated the halfback on H burst to the field. Now, how do we know which side to work? This is 2nd and 11 here. If we're getting a pressure look, man coverage, cover 0, cover 1, something like that pre-snap, Carson Beck can work these go routes to the field, either over the top or maybe a back shoulder throw. If we're getting a zone pressure that we don't identify until post-snap, we've got our whip on the backside, which is our hot route. But we're getting a 2-high zone coverage look with free release. I'm thinking one thing only, and that's Brock Bowers. Now, if I'm the defense and I see Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey lined up on the same side to the boundary, I am on high alert. I'm thinking either sail or wheel if Brock Bowers is off the line of scrimmage. Since he's on the ball here, I'm thinking a corner route with a smash concept, or he's going to work the middle of the field, which is exactly what happens. This will linebacker for Auburn must reroute Brock Bowers. You have got to get physical with him and put your hands on him at the line of scrimmage. I understand you don't want to get a penalty, but if you can knock him off his route even a little bit, that'll do 2 things. 1, it'll mess up the timing with a young quarterback in Carson Beck. And 2, it'll give another split second for your front 4 to get pressure on the quarterback. Not only does he get free release, but Brock Bowers is untouched. And by the time he catches this football over the middle of the field, he is a freight train on the move, and he's tough to bring down. Now, I want to cut to the sky cam view here for people asking, how can he get so open? Watch how the whip route takes that will linebacker to the boundary, and watch how the burst route takes that Mike to the field. It opens up the middle of the field so beautifully, I think I could still even make that throw. This is 11 personnel. Gun, left, whip, flex, Ricky Devo, Z spin, H burst.
Great
job, Cohn. He's solid, dog.
In that zone coverage, and it's tough because McConkey and Brock Bowers were killing Auburn all day. Yeah, McConkey wasn't in there for a lot of snaps, but when he was in there, it was on 3rd down, they were converting.
Sure.
And a lot of it was outside. You saw smash concept, you saw sail, you saw different things. What do we always talk about? To the 2-man side, if number 2 is on the ball, 1 is off the ball, 2 is off the ball, something is up, okay? alert China, smash alert, however you want to call it, right? Because if I'm going to run smash, which Georgia had ran that game, which is the hitch by one, right, or some short to intermediate route by one, and the corner by number 2, true smash is the hitch with the corner. The safety, they assumed smash on that. They assumed Brock Bowers was running the corner.
Yeah.
If you bring that back up, look at the leverage of the safety, okay? I have to be in, I cannot assume, and yes, the whip route did extend that will, okay? That will still has to get hands on number 2, all right? Whether he's vertical off the press, it's in the NFL. There's no illegal contact after 5 yards. You can put your hands on him. You can't hold him. You can't knock him down, but you can put your hands on him. So I get that whip route. I get that interior route. Yes, that Will backer has got to end up pushing. He's right to push to that whip to help. But why would you overextend when the corner, you got the China alert, the corner is sinking. They're thinking it is smash. That's why the safety, who's wrong, is outside leverage, right, of number 2. Okay, the corner is sinking, so the corner can press up and take care of the whip. If he throws the whip, the corner can drive on it and hit him. That will does not need to extend with that. Where are you going? Hang in the window. You're wrong in the leverage and safety because you're assuming he's running the corner and you want to get there because they've been kicking your ass with the corner all day. And then the will, well, in the second half, I thought Auburn did a really good job of hemming him up in the first half. And then I thought Ron Roberts had a great plan, but you got to execute the play that's called. You can't extend that at will like that. Why are you chasing ghosts? The corner is sinking and squatting right there because I guarantee you they made that China call. I'd be willing to bet the mortgage on they made that China call, which means guess what? If we get the smash concept, okay, that corner's going to midpoint. It's what we call midpointing the corner, and the safety's going to be over the top so you can make the catch. And if you want to throw the underneath, damn it, we'll go tackle it, and it'll be 3rd and 4.
Yep.
Yeah, and
but you can't extend the window.
There was a play earlier in this same drive where it was more understandable that you couldn't get your hands on Brock Bowers, and it was such a beautiful concept. I almost broke that one down. They motioned Brock Bowers to get to 3-by-1 formation to the boundary and snapped it when he was still on the move, and then he ran the rail route, and the receiver came back on the bubble, on the key route there. And they hit it Brock Bowers for a big play. So that was one of them. It's more understandable because that motion keeps you from getting your hands on him.
So
and there was a couple like
the ball. Brock's on the ball.
And there was a couple like Blaine said the other day, he was double covered. He's just out here catching one hand
that's
passes
going to happen
beat
sometimes.
You. All of that stuff's understandable. This one though, with him on the ball, that's an opportunity for you to go in there and at least get physical with him.
For sure. And the best part about it is you didn't even have to go press up there to get physical with him.
No.
He came to you. He brought the cookies into the kitchen. And again, we're not saying you go and just jump kick him or judo chop him. Like literally, if you would have gotten physical with him, because it's called pushing through, push 2 somewhere.
Yep.
I'm going to push 2 somewhere. It's not man. I'm worried about getting picked in man. So I'm going to try and avoid that contact if my guy somehow goes out and we're not matching it.
Because Brock's trying to get to the midline of that safety.
He's trying to get to the midline.
He's trying to even up that safety.
And the safety helped him out by playing outside leverage.
The safety doesn't know where he's going if you get to that midline. So Brock, if you push him off that, now he's off his midline. Now it gets tougher for Brock to actually get inside leverage.
But here's what, you throw the timing off when you get your hands on Brock Bowers, 100%. And maybe Carson Beck's eyes go away and back to the whip route because he's not comfortable having time to let Brock Bowers be able to clear that. But you didn't. You gave him a free release. You gave Brock Bowers a free release. You exited where you were supposed to be, and you were out leveraged at safety. That cannot happen in that moment if you want to beat the number 1 team in the country.
100%.
But to be the number 1 show in the country, we love doing call-ins.
We got Troy from Portland. Troy, what's going on?
T-Roy.
Not much. Wanted to call in and apologize to the Booster Club.
Okay.
I'm down the last couple of weeks in Daily Wire, losing my focus and my composure.
Hey, you're trust-free. You're safe here. You don't have to apologize.
You're safe.
Yeah.
You're safe.
Well, I dropped the last 2 games. We should have won, but we came back this week. And sorry, Jake, I had to take you out.
Like, why? My thing is this. Like, I don't understand. Like, what did I drop? Like 142 points? Like 145
Fantasy?
points?
And still lost?
Yeah, and still lost.
Dude,
I mean,
I got 2
Jared Goff, you give me 12, but like, how can I be mad at everybody else?
You can't.
Like, how can I be mad?
No, that's fantasy for you.
Like, I mean,
Christian McCaffrey has 45 points.
We weren't wrong leverage at safety.
No.
We did not get our hands
C-Mac
on
had
number
45
2.
for you?
He had 45. He had
Yes.
4 touchdowns the first half, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Like, it's just Jared Goff had like 12, but Troy, your guy's bald, man. Dirty Brock Purdy. Sturdy.
That's right. put in some extra effort, some extra focus, and we came out and got the dub this week.
That's it.
go. There
I'm
you
proud
go.
of you, but also disappointed in myself, but also not really because, I mean, golly, what else I got to do? I mean, Aaron Rodgers
I'm
goes
sorry
down
for
and
your
side
loss,
here
dude.
dropping 140 piece with some Cajun fries and nuggies. But Troy, thank
you. Would have beaten everybody else, dude. You would
I
have beaten
know.
everybody else.
I
without me.
know, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Somebody
That's it, guys.
kill me, please.
Thank you, Troy.
Appreciate it, Troy.
man. All right, let's go to Josh in North Carolina. What's up, man?
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up,
What's
dude?
up, buddy?
All right, I got a lot of stuff to get through, so I'm gonna rush through it really quickly.
Okay.
Firstly, I put the rent on Georgia.
Oh,
and
God.
I lost. Then
What?
I went to my book. Then I went to my bookie, and I was like, wait, Blaine gave me another one. Give me Chiefs -9, and I lost the rent again. So now I'm living
Wow.
in the studio.
Where's the Michigan bet at? I gave you
Thank
two
you for
more to
letting me live
locks.
in the studio.
Yeah.
I gave you two more to locks, Josh. All right. I gave you
Baltar's going to live
Hey,
behind the teleprompter.
No, but in all seriousness, I'm glad I did not take the Georgia bet. I really almost did.
Well, good. Well, that makes one of us.
But I don't know. So for college football, it was interesting because I had free tickets to Busch Gardens and I couldn't pass it up. So I basically recorded all the games I was going to miss and then watched the games while coming back.
Baltar,
And-
let me hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Y'all played South Carolina too, right?
Yeah, but that was a night game. I was able to catch
Okay,
that.
you were able to come back
Yeah.
for that one. That was my question because if I was going to say if you
Yeah.
missed the team's game to go to Busch Gardens, I was
No,
gonna
I
I was
didn't.
gonna
No.
ask if everything was. I was wondering if this is like one of those calls from like that Jake Gyllenhaal movie where you've been kidnapped and like you're
Yeah,
pretending,
you're holding up this sign through the door
you're
when the
pretending
cops
to
get
call
there.
like and be cool so the person doesn't freak out. Like I thought maybe that was happening for a
Right.
second.
No,
Like just say
but I was
Skyhook in
able to
that
catch
in that
up.
situation.
Right. I was able to catch it all, and I was watching the Georgia-Auburn game, and I was watching the last quarter, and I just had that feeling. I'm like, Georgia's just going to pull away. They're too good. Like,
Yeah, welcome to being an
and
Auburn
they
fan.
did.
Yeah, you had that feeling too.
Yeah, I had that feeling when the game started.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
We went up 10-0. I couldn't feel worse about it.
right. And so I got two more quick things. One, the Kentucky-Florida game, Blaine and David, when are y'all going to believe in my upset picks? I've gave you two good upset picks, and y'all don't take them.
Hold on, what are you talking about?
Kentucky beat Florida.
Kentucky was
I'm talking about
favorite.
in the
Kentucky
rankings.
was
I'm
Kentucky was
talk- no, no,
favored.
I'm talking about in the rankings when I do these upset picks. I thought I explained this a few weeks ago. Maybe I did.
Oh,
When
I see what
say
you're
upset,
saying.
Okay,
Baltar.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Bro,
that-
if it's a
that's what
plus
I'm
sign
talking
by the,
about.
I'm looking at the line on DraftKings.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. But Tennessee dropping in rankings while beating South Carolina to sleep. I don't know what the AP
Just don't
polls
look at
are.
that.
I had
Yeah,
someone.
anymore.
I was in a space last night, and the only thing some Tennessee fan asked me, I talked about how good Tennessee's front seven is. I was like, you played against a high school offensive line.
Yeah, how was
in
it
South
against
Carolina?
How was it against Florida?
Florida took you in the woodshed and made you like it. All right, so this weekend,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Y'all got to buy this weekend?
Talking about Tennessee?
Yeah,
Does
we
Tennessee
got
have a bye this weekend?
Yeah.
We got a bye this weekend, and then we play A&M next weekend at home. So
The next three for Tennessee: A&M, Alabama, and Kentucky. And the last two are on the.
Hey,
right.
we
Do you
got-
still have that Adam Sandler thing on there
Which one?
with somebody?
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah,
one-
here you go. This is
one?
Tennessee next couple weeks.
if we, I hate you. But okay, look, seriously, next three games, if Tennessee goes 2-1, I'll be happier. Like I'll be screaming from the mountaintop.
Yeah,
As long as
absolutely.
the one loss isn't- As long as the one loss isn't to Kentucky, I'll be screaming from the mountaintop.
That front seven better figure it out quick.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks,
find out,
Josh.
Baltar. Thanks,
Appreciate it,
buddy.
Josh.
Get it, man. All right, let's go to Nathan in
All right.
Georgia. Nathan, what's up?
Morning.
Nathan,
morning.
What's up, man?
Serious.
So I know college football is rocking and rolling, but playoff baseball starts this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So what are we worried about the starting pitching for the Braves?
Yes.
Or you
Always.
think we're all right?
Yes.
What are you talking about, man? You already won.
No,
You won the World Series.
shut up.
We hit
No.
Congrats.
We hit
Where's the
good.
bus? in
I
Atlanta?
said this. God, what? 4 months in? I was like, it's weird because typically we're worried about the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm worried about the starting pitching. And it's one of those things that where, you know the saying like offense comes and goes, but like it hasn't for the Braves. It's just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
So like at some point, and we know in the playoffs, just like we see in other sports, a lot of things tighten, right? Like scores condense. You're not getting a ton of crazy, outrageous 12 to 10 games. Typically the pitching, it gets even better. The defense gets even better. But yes, if you had to point out one weakness for the Braves, it has to be the starting pitching, correct?
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm going. I actually got tickets to the first game on Saturday, and let me tell you,
hell
they better
yeah.
be starting Strider game one.
You better. Don't start Max
Have
Fried.
to.
How many times do I have to say it? Do not start Max Fried
Gotta
game
start
one.
Strider.
You got to start Spencer.
Y'all already won. Calm down.
Would you get out of here?
Guys,
Would you leave
all
this?
right?
We're having
Just
a grown-up
calm down.
conversation.
Yeah, hey, we're the
Calm down.
Yeah, his team's in it. The Rangers.
No. This playoff. This playoff baseball.
Wait.
Oh gosh.
So if the Braves make it to the World Series, y'all gonna make a trip to Atlanta?
Say I won't.
Come on, I'm staying with you.
I won't.
I'm battery. Hey, I'm
Lane will be
battery
there.
powered.
I'm
Nathan.
staying with you, Nathan.
I'm battery powered, dog.
Well, hopefully we can get it done, and hopefully, I think
How
Charlie
sick?
Morton has blisters. Is that right?
Say it again.
I think Charlie Morton's got blisters, don't he? So they should be.
Yeah,
fine
well,
with
rub
a
some
couple-
Neosporin on
Yeah,
that. Let's
come on.
let's bring a
So
shaman in
crying
here
in
and a
baseball.
rabbi and figure it
blisters.
Still
out.
crying in baseball.
You got
The blisters suck if you're a pitcher.
Out here trying to be world
Um,
champs. But Nathan, I got something for you. Hold on.
Come on, Nene.
Listen to that.
There we
Soak
go,
it in.
baby.
Soak
Right
it
there.
in, man.
Here we go, baby.
Love
You
to
soak
hear it.
that in.
Hey, together, together. Braves, Orioles,
y'all.
World Series we all want.
Appreciate it, Nathan. Go Braves. All right, we got Jan in Lubbock on Pongo Alert.
What's up, Jan?
Called in the other day. Jan, what's going on?
Hey, good morning, guys, and good morning, Booster Club.
What's up,
Morning.
Jan?
Unlike the previous caller, like your previous caller, I've got a few things to go through. One is Texas Tech had a win. Yay.
Thank goodness.
I love Baron Morton. There's a lot of talk about Johnny Brooks, but we've got Taj Brooks at Tech. I also wanted to say that the ketchup fries or ketchup chips, I had nightmares last night.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. It's disgusting, isn't it?
Ketchup chips?
Who eats ketchup on chips?
That's not. See, you're underselling it. That's
Oh,
not
my
what
bad.
it is.
Okay.
No,
Like,
This is what
it's
you
a-
said.
It's a ketchup flavor. It's not putting Heinz 57 on chips.
No, no.
Or not Heinz 57, but
Putting
Heinz
Hunts
ketchup.
on chips.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
I'll try
stop Jake. You're not going to convince that one. And it gave me greater respect for Kirk from Canada, who I always have a lot of respect for.
Skyhook.
But most importantly, I want to talk about why I love sports so much, the stories.
For sure.
We don't need Hollywood writers. When you have Max Johnson tossing his brother's first college touchdown play, that was
Yeah.
terrific. Kicker from Clemson, literally getting off of the airplane and almost going to play a game again, coming back to Clemson.
Yep.
And the best story, I think, of the entire year so far is the Travis Hunter and Henry Blackburn story.
Yeah, I thought that was
Out of
great.
That was cool.
I mean, Tyler Hunter is now my hero. I think what a classy kid.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, how can you not love sports when you have
For
this
sure.
sort of thing happen?
Well, that's why we keep.
all.
Go ahead.
No, I can say that's really all I had to say. It was a lot, but just.
Oh no,
I just
Dan.
love it.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah.
We love when you call in, and that's right. That's why I always, when you have these people, and even in sports media, that try and divide sports, by race, and this person is terrible, and this person's a devil, and the NFL's a slave trade, and all this stuff. Shut up. Like sports should unite us, not divide us. You see the stories like
Exactly.
Travis Hunter and Harry Blackburn. Just stay out of it. Y'all keep that stuff in politics. Y'all keep all that just vitriol and just hatred and all that stuff in the other realms. So leave us sports fans alone because, if you're a true sports fan, you see, Tom Rinaldi about makes, growing up, I've cried like 6 times in my life and 5 times are because Tom Rinaldi.
Yeah.
Appreciate it,
Yeah.
Jan.
Great call, Jan.
Well, one last thing, if I may.
Go
Who
ahead.
do you predict, Tech or Baylor? They're saying Baylor, but I'm going.
The latter.
Give me Baylor at home, momentum coming over.
I'll roll with you, Jan. Give me Texas Tech.
Every time I pick
Guns
Tech,
up.
they lose.
Thank
So
you, Blaine.
maybe
Yes,
I
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You have a great day.
See you, Jen.
See you, Jan. All right, let's go to Cade in Idaho. Cade, what's going on?
Hi, this is Bronco Spud.
What up?
What's up, bud?
Spud.
I just want to do before I begin, I want to do a shout out to the Idaho State Bengals, who didn't win this last weekend, but they did cover.
There you go.
That's a great team to
do. That's a great team. So Idaho State is the Bengals. Idaho is the Vandals.
Yes, and
Yep.
and Idaho are a bunch of cowards that left FCS and purposely.
I remember that. We were one of the last teams at South Alabama. We went up to the Kibbe Dome and played them before they dropped down. When they had Linehan's son at quarterback.
That's like some good Idaho hate.
Yeah, no one likes Idaho. But I want to talk about Boise State, and I have a bone to pick with you, Jake, because you keep saying that you like Avalos.
I do like Avalos.
Is a failure as a head coach. He is a failure as a head coach. I'm not saying he's probably a good defensive coordinator, but he has done nothing but destroy Boise State.
Well, I'll say this. Number one, thank you guys for blowing it last week. I had Memphis -2.5, so I was worried when it was 10-0 Boise. I will say I think last year was a little bit deceptive for Boise State, and I know they lost some talent in that secondary, but if you go look, they had like really good numbers against the pass, but then you look against the offenses they played against, not good at the pass. Like sometimes it's just like
you gave up 34 to San Diego State.
Yeah,
And they're anemic on offense.
yeah, they're really bad, which is sad because I thought Maiden was going to end up being a little bit better.
Brian Harsin ruined Boise State for me, so now I have a deep hatred for Boise State.
Yeah, but go
I
ahead.
agree with you. Brian Harsin was horrible.
Yeah.
Okay? Ever since Chris Peterson left and went to Washington, Boise State has been in a steady state of decline.
Yeah.
All
But
throughout
was that
Brian
y'all's
Harson's
peak though? Was that
tenure.
like y'all's like Matthew McConaughey and Dazed and Confused in high school? Like, have you already hit the peak? Like, is this it? Was that it? How does it get
No,
better
I
than
do
that?
not think
How
that
does
we
it
can-
get better than that? Though?
I don't think
you're
I
the
don't think he can
underdog.
get better than that, but
Hold
I
on.
think Boise State can be consistent.
You're the underdog. You play Oklahoma in one of the biggest bowl games. You run a hook and ladder to score like in the last second.
So-
Then you win with a 2-point conversion or whatever. Then one of your best players proposes to the cheerleader.
His name
Does
Ian
it-
Johnson.
I mean, that's peaking if I've ever seen it.
Well, Brian Harsin, I got the Boise State record by year up right now. Brian Harsin won double-digit games 5 of 6 seasons.
Who
And the-
cares?
and the
I don't
other
think,
one-
like-
and the other one was 9 wins.
like Boise. Go ahead.
That doesn't matter. Boise State's been winning double digit seasons every
Pipeline school, man.
for the last two decades.
Yeah.
So, but how did
In
he
the
ruin
last
it then?
3-4 years. So he went from being Coach Peterson was 1 loss or 0 losses most of his tenure.
Look, if you're
Brian
Boise State,
Harsin
you're
took
gunning for
2
8
losses.
wins.
If you're Boise State, we have been trained to expect at least 10. And Brian Harsin brought us down to that.
Yeah, Brian
And
Harsin's
now
the
with
plague.
Avalos, we're at 9 or 8, which is ridiculous.
Well, it's just my question now is what's the next move for Boise State? Y'all, if the Pac-12 somehow survives, y'all going over there, or like you told us earlier, would you put down the phone and say, "No, we're straight"?
No, we're not going to the Pac-12. You mean the Pac-2? We're not going there.
Would there be a merge of the Mountain Pack,
I think if there was a merger, I don't think they'd change the name.
the Western Mountain Pack? You think it'd just be the Mountain West? I mean,
It'd just be the Mountain West because the Pac-12, they've lost their chance to be a conference. Kind of
Yeah.
like the WAC.
Yeah.
I got you.
I see it.
David, you know
Appreciate
there's
it, Cade. I don't ever want to be a head coach for your team.
Yeah, look.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. Yesterday, there was a press conference, and in all the comments before it, everyone's like, this better be a resignation.
Yeah.
He won 10 games
Everyone
last
is saying
year.
Not this year.
Hey, high expectations, David. Expectations.
I get it. I love it.
That's the difference between them and Vandy. I'll say we have 2 rules on the show. 1, don't trust the North Koreans. 2, don't say anything good about Brian Harsin.
No, huddle up. We're ass.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you on Brian Harsin as well. I'm just
Thank you.
He's
Thank
the
you,
Dementor.
Broncos.
Everything
Bud.
he touches dies.
Hey, good luck to you, my
Dave.
friend.
Yeah, thank you.
San
Thank you.
Jose State this
See
weekend.
ya, bud.
Like the under.
All right, we got Chad on the line in Oklahoma.
Chad, here we
You know,
go.
Chad came in
All right.
hot last
The Chad. What's up?
time. Chad, how you feeling this week?
Do y'all think Baby Sarkisian's going to yell at another tunnel guy before the game this year?
They put their hands on him.
You better not
Hey,
touch
keep your hands off.
Keep
of
your
him,
hands
man.
off him.
Keep
Hey,
your
it's
hands-
funny. It's funny. Nobody's pissed about that now. And
No.
you remember that? It was all like, oh, Sark's the biggest douchebag ever of all time. He goes out there and beats Bama. They're like, don't you touch him.
Yeah.
Don't.
I wouldn't be
touch
surprised
him.
if that ball was locked up in someone's basement somewhere.
It wasn't
Oh,
a good
for sure.
look.
I know.
but
Is it
didn't
a-
really- I
Never
didn't care
mind.
that much about it.
No. Well, like,
don't touch him.
Don't get your hands off him. Head ball coach.
See, if you've ever been in that tunnel, like, and you know the pressure those dudes are under, don't touch them, bro. And then people are like, oh, well, just imagine if you did that at work. Yeah, buddy, he don't work at Sonic. Okay, like he's not out there on roller skates bringing curly fries and a milkshake to you. There's a little more pressure.
He could do that though.
I heard he could. Can you imagine Sark?
Well, listen, if my chest lacked the kind of muscle definition that his did, I wouldn't want people touching it either. But that's not important.
Chad.
Blaine, don't think I don't have. Oh, my bad. Plain. Don't think I don't have heat coming for you before the end of this call. Either.
well, good, because I'm a dragon. It better be hot.
The dragon. Yep. You're like the one off of Mulan that got canceled by Disney.
Oh God.
Yeah, I
Mushu?
would get canceled by it. Yeah, I would
There's
love to be
Mushu
Mushu.
slander?
Wow.
Eddie Murphy? I love it.
Dragon slander on
crazy.
Tuesday.
It's great.
I'm a
in
dragon.
height and in muscle, by the way. Anyway,
Yeah, nice.
OU Texas. What are these other callers doing? There's no other game this weekend that matters in any way, shape, or form than one game, 11 a.m. and only
big
on
game.
ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's has got to go. 2 5-0 teams. Now, Texas performs about as well as you expect Texas to perform whenever they have that expectation, which is they fall flat on their face and look like a wet fart. Anyways, Texas and Oklahoma. I'm picking, I believe, Oklahoma wins. Surprisingly, I know you
Yeah,
didn't
it's crazy.
that.
I'm shocked,
After all
Chad.
y'all laughed at me. Well, if you remember my first call, what did I tell you I am? I'm objective, bring a little truth and reality. I stare right down the barrel of objectivity.
I
Right
love
down
it.
the
That's
barrel
you
of it.
do.
And
You're
I-
straight.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
hey, you don't straddle the line. You
You're
are
whipping
the
out your
line.
Webster.
Epitome of objectivity.
And I'm glad you guys can sense that through a phone call because I just bring people what they need to know.
Yeah.
Now, let me break the game down for you a little bit because this is what OU needs to do if they're going to win. And, to be serious, they really will need to do this. And it actually is the part that I'm worried about most is the run game for Oklahoma has been struggling. I went back and looked at their wins since 2015, which is when kind of, I think really the rivalry has kind of gotten a little bit closer at least. OU's averaged about 250 yards rushing, and they're struggling to get 150 yards against, admittedly defenses with front sevens that aren't nearly as good as what Texas is going to have.
Do you think that's a little bit with the amount they're throwing, though? Like, do you think the amount of not the lack? I know there's been a lack of explosive plays in the run game, but they're throwing more than they ever have.
They are, but I think that's because if you look at OU's offensive line, they struggled at the left guard position. They have Savion Byrd, who's a very really talented player. I believe is just struggling with with being sound in his assignments. And you don't see Beatenbow typically by the OU Texas game. He has a pretty sound offensive line. That's what worries me. Now, I do think the one area where Oklahoma does well is they attack the edges in the pass game and the throw game, and that's where Texas is weakest. They don't have great edge players. Again, I'm saying great. They have good ones. I'm not denying that. But if you're going to attack them, you got to attack them where they're weakest. I will also say, watching Texas, the quarterbacks they played against. I don't know if you realize this. They really haven't played a good quarterback, and I don't think Milroe is a good quarterback. They played Rice as starter. Then they played 3-time transfer JT Daniels. They played Kansas's backup, Wyoming's backup. They were tied going into the fourth quarter against Wyoming. They played Baylor's backup, and then they played Jaden Milroe, who got benched the game after he started. So I've yet to really play a quarterback that can actually challenge them.
From a throwing standpoint, I thought they got after. I thought they got Jalen on the ground, which is tough to do.
They did, but also if you, but like the Alabama game, if you remember those throws that Alabama has always made their money on those seam routes up the sideline, the fade routes up the sideline, a la Devontae Smith in the championship game when Tua threw it to him. He missed two or three wide open receivers where if he makes those throws, Bama probably wins that game by 2-3 touchdowns. And
Yeah, I would say Texas missed about 4 to 5 throws in that
5.
game too, though. I think it would have been more high scoring. But no, I see what you're saying, Chad.
That's true. And fair enough. And I'm probably looking at it through,
No, you're right. He did miss some throws and some reads. I mean, he threw it right to the safety, safety once and corner once, but right to him.
Hey, and I want to ask y'all this, and then I'll get to Blaine in 1 second.
Hurry up.
If Dylan Gabriel has a good game, say he comes out and throws for 350, 3 touchdowns, or runs for 1, do you think he's legitimately in the Heisman conversation?
Yeah, if they win, yes.
And OU wins.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, Blaine, I'll get to our bet because I don't want to take up all the time. I may call back later this week to make sure you don't punk out.
Okay.
I was thinking about what I wanted to do, and I went and I listened again to the first call I had, and you laughed at me. You gawked at me. I bring you an opinion based on truth and facts, and you laughed at it.
Okay.
So here's my offer for a bet. And by the way, this is a little tip for all the listeners out there. Whenever you bet somebody, don't just bet on money. You got to go for what they're sensitive about, what they really value. And amazingly so, I know it may not be obvious from the TV, but Blaine, I think, values his fashion.
Yes.
I think he values looking good on the camera. So if OU wins, Blaine, you have to go to Walmart, buy you a little Fruit of the Looms or Hanes white shirt. You can find those in the clothing section. There'll be a big sign that says men's clothing.
Thank you, Chad.
You're going to go to the office home tools or school supplies. There'll be packages. You get you a black Sharpie. On that shirt, you write Chad knows more. Boomer.
Okay.
OU wins. And you wear it the whole show on Monday.
Okay.
And it has to be legible from the camera. You can't write it, on the back of your shirt.
What happens if they lose, Chad? What do you have to do?
Well, I don't know. I didn't think about that. No, I was going to ask you.
I'm just going to gloss over that one.
This is what I was going to ask you because I don't know.
We'll think about it.
I don't know what.
Give me some time. Give me some time to think about it. But I'm sitting here questioning. You got Ewers, you got Brooks, you got Worth, you got Adonai Mitchell. How do you think Ligman's going to play?
Blaine, that was the worst attempt at getting someone to get.
Well, you're an Oklahoma fan, so I thought you were dumb enough to fall
Chad, we'll
for
think about the bet, my friend, and we'll get back to you tomorrow. How about that?
Sounds good. All right, guys.
Hey, always great to hear from you, Chad. Always great to hear from you.
Hey, good seeing you space last night, man.
Tomorrow, okay? So Chris, Chase, everybody else on the line, y'all call in tomorrow.
Yes, we will put you guys straight through. All right, Blaine, read him while I walk.
SGR, $5 donation. Regular potato chips without ketchup is mid. I'm not a big regular potato chips.
I don't think, look, like original potato chips suck.
Plain Jane stuff.
The only ones I can stand are if they're kettle cooked.
All right, let's go to Joseph Lavelle, $5 donation. You want something to make your mouth water? Brock Bowers.
Right over here.
Brock Bowers to the 49ers.
Oh,
wow. I don't think the NFL can let that happen.
That's a David Stern, Chris Paul situation. Nope.
Now let's go to Colson Duggins, $5 donation. Appreciate it, Coles. Guys, I can't call in today, but be on notice. There's a fraud Glegby on the loose. That man who called yesterday is not real.
No way.
He is not real.
There's a fraud
Glegby?
And I'm pretty sure Nathan Johnson had a donation. It was a $5 donation. He says that's not the real Nathan Johnson who called.
Shut up.
I don't know if it's an imposter.
No way.
Imposter
day or what it is.
Booster Club?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. That's all. Let's get the bets. I'm pretty sure it's all the donations. If I missed your donation, I'm sorry. Don't blame me. Blame somebody in the control.
I guarantee you Charles Dotsett probably donated and you missed it.
Well, he deserves it.
All right. 2-0 yesterday again in the NFL. 8-0, my last 8 picks. You know what that makes me, David?
Oh, that makes you very, very happy. Hold on.
You make me happy.
All right. So today, going baseball, playoff baseball. Should have went double Nerfies, Blaine. Love where your head's at. But I'm going to go Twins, right? What's better than 1? 2. Twins, Basil. -120. Then I'm going to go Phillies. Roll it up. Money line, -162. A little just straight up money line.
I love it. 2-0 yesterday here with the Seahawks Giants under, and then Kenneth Walker at one point had -2 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. You do the math on that, but he did hit the over 66 and a half.
He did end up hitting that over.
In the second half, so I hit that. I'm going to go Rangers money line. Look, wild card on the road. This team almost won their division. Rangers money line +130, and then I want the Phillies to win combined with the under 12.5 runs. That's -120.
All right, 0-2 yesterday. Not a great start. David, hit the button.
Well, you're, here, this one.
No! Please don't hurt me! Dang it! All right, playoff baseball. Give me Nerfies. I'm going Miami Phillies Nerfy -130, and then give me Rangers Rays Nerfy and also Dirty 130.
Ace, bet buds with the kid. Twins, money line, -120. And he's going to go D-backs. Brewers, under 8. Unders are pretty good in playoff baseball at minus a pristine 115.
All right, Jake, do you remember the guy on Twitter yesterday who asked us for 2 bets? For the
yes.
Do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name, but I gave him Tyler Lockett over 50.5 receiving yards, and that hit.
Okay, I'm pretty sure he donated, saying great job. He won us ish load him.
Adam Petrovsky.
I believe so, Adam. I'm pretty sure Adam donated. Adam, thank you so much. Congrats on the bread that you won yesterday. Let's get to the poll. All right, who wins, Texas or Oklahoma?
So they say Texas 55%.
Oklahoma.
Texas 74.
Whoa,
that's a slaughter.
Oklahoma fan.
Where are the Chad? Where are your boys?
Chad,
Texas cover,
Chad.
baby.
I think the shirts that say Chad is dad.
Yeah.
Chad is dad.
Chad Smith. Chad Smitherman. Most normal name in the world.
We got to think of something that he's got to do.
Oh, I'll think of something. Don't worry about it.
Definitely. Well, if you're thinking about liking this video, please do that. I don't know where I was going with that. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on all social medias. We've got some great guests coming the rest of the week. Make sure you lock in some of those early sharp bets. Been hotter than a fat kid in a sleeping bag factory lately. Make sure you keep checking us out. And like the chances of there being any more Major League Baseball regular season games after we played all 913 of them, we're going.
There you go.
Gone. Sound like Super Mario.